Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Learning to be Blind. It's been a while since I've made a Learning to be Blind video, and it's been so long since I've made one that I don't even know which episode number we're on anymore. But in the meantime, while I was editing this video, I looked at that and it's up there somewhere in the title. I have not been making regular Learning to be Blind videos for a reason. If you watched the previous episode, you know I have been going through a rehabilitation course or process with Bartimaeus, and the idea of the rehabilitation process that I was going to learn to use my computer with voiceover and my iPhone with voiceover. I was also going to try to learn Braille, and I was going to try to get some cooking lessons to see whether or not it was possible for me to independently cook some simple meals. I managed to finish all the computer stuff. I'm quite good with voiceover on the Mac, and I am pretty good with voiceover on the iPhone. There are some irritating points still on the iPhone, like typing. I do not like typing with the on-screen keyboard with voiceover. It annoys the crap out of me. But for the rest, I'm pretty good at it, and I'm now a daily voiceover user. I completed that part of my rehabilitation stuff, so that's really good, and I'm really happy about that. We started to do some cooking lessons to see whether or not that will work for me, and that didn't go as well as I had planned. We actually had to go and have a talk with Bartimaeus to try and figure out why that didn't go so well, and it was a really good discussion. Bartimaeus was really helpful and always really positive when things don't go the way that they were planned. So yeah, I'm really pleased with the way that went, but it made me realise that maybe something needed to happen in terms of, I don't know, it made me realise that I'm maybe not as good at doing things as I thought I was. And in between this process of having computer lessons and cooking lessons, I also realised I'm really struggling with the fact that I have to make changes to deal with the failing eyesight. My eyesight's going backwards, and some days it's really bad, and all of a sudden it can make a complete permanent change, and I have to either change the way I do something or I have to give up things, and that has a really bad effect on my emotions. And I'm not a very emotional person. I don't cry very easily, or most of the time I don't cry very easily. Sometimes at stupid things I cry really easily. Sometimes at stupid things I get angry really easily, and I'm just not good with emotions. They either come at the wrong time or they don't come when I want them to come. So I shouted out to Bartimaeus and I said, hey guys, could you maybe help me, because I'm having a lot of difficulty dealing with this. And I got a visit from a social worker. They call it a maatschappelijke werker in Dutch, but it's basically it's a bit like a social worker or a counsellor who comes and talks to you about how you're feeling and what's going on. And it was quite a confrontational and difficult discussion, but it was also one of the best discussions I had ever had. And the social worker or counsellor, I don't quite know how I'm supposed to call her in English, suggested that I have a NeuroPsychological assessment, and I agreed to that. So we put all of the rehabilitation stuff on hold, and we decided that I was going to do a NeuroPsychological assessment, which I'm having a party for, by the way, because I just finished it just yesterday. And I've done several sessions, so we've probably done about 8 or 9 hours worth of work to do this assessment. But why did I choose for a NeuroPsychological assessment, and why did it take so long? Well, I don't know a lot about myself. I know that I have an illness called congenital rubella syndrome, and I know that it affects my eyesight, and I know that it affects other things within my body. But that's it. I don't actually know what all the other crap is that comes on top of that, and whether it's caused by that and whether it's caused by something else. I don't know why my eyesight's going backwards, and I would like to understand why. I would probably I wanted to understand more about myself, and I wanted to help other people be able to understand more about me, because if I don't know about myself, I can't explain it. So how am I supposed to tell it to other people? I'm pretty good at writing blogs, but when it comes to talking to people that are trying to help me, like people from Bartimeus or other people from a medical background, it's hard because I don't know how to explain what's going on with my own body, and I don't know how to explain what's going on in my own head. So I took the chance to take this neuropsychological assessment so that I could get help to build a profile. And it's kind of like, I don't know, you guys have only probably ever built social media profiles unless you've had your own neuropsychological assessment, then you will understand what it's all about. But building a profile, and a really detailed profile of myself. Why is it called neuropsychological? Well, that's because they look at the neurological aspect. I personally believe that I have problems with memory and concentration, and communicating and understanding certain things, so that we wanted to look at the neurological side to see if there are any things that pop out during the assessment which might point to, hey, this is wrong with your brain, or this is wrong with your body. And the psychological part of the assessment is basically to see how I deal with difficult situations, such as losing my vision. That's just one example, but it goes about difficult situations overall, and how good I am at communicating that, and how good I am at expressing myself. That's the psychological part. So I've had a really interesting time doing this neuropsychological assessment because I studied psychology when I was in college, and I've done parts of this assessment on other people because we had to study things like memory, and we had to study things like communication. So I've done some of the tests that were done on me, and now I've sat in that whole assessment and I've been a part of it, and I'm like, oh yeah, that part of the brain does this, and that part of the brain does that, and oh, maybe that part of my brain doesn't work so well as I thought it might. And yeah, it was really interesting to take a part of, but it was very heavy and very, it took a lot of energy, and it was quite time consuming. It made me pretty tired. We had to do it in several parts, so we'll be doing 1.5 hours every week until we'd finished the whole assessment, so it's taken quite a lot of time. And hopefully there's going to come a really cool profile out of it. It's going to help me explain to myself and explain to other people who I am and what I'm all about. And I don't know whether there are going to come up any special points. I don't know whether it's going to lead to any diagnosis of something else or whatever. I'm not bothered if it does. That only means that I'm going to be able to get help with whatever that is that I can get help with. But at least it's going to build up a really cool profile about who I am and what I am, so that I can explain myself to other people. Because when you don't understand a lot about yourself, it's really hard to explain. So that is why there have been no learning to be blind videos of late. It's because I was going through that assessment. I was trying to learn more about myself. I'm hopefully going to be able to learn more about rubella syndrome and how it affects me. Because like I've said, I don't know where half of my problems come from and why I have them. So maybe we can make some links. I'm hoping that we can make some links. But I don't know what's going to come out of it yet, because it's going to take a while before I get the results. And when I do get the results, if there's anything interesting that I think you guys might like to hear, I'll probably share it with you. I'm making some plans, or I'm trying to make some plans for some of the new series on YouTube, which you guys will have heard about in an update video. But I hope to come up with some more ideas for learning to be blind videos, because this series wasn't just meant to help you guys follow my rehabilitation process. It was also meant to show you what it's like to be blind or almost blind, to show you what it's like to be me and have my eyesight. So I'm hoping to come up with some other ideas for videos. This series isn't dead. For a long time it's not dead, it's not done. I just need some more inspiration. And now that the hard part of this neuropsychological assessment is done, I'll be able to have some more time to think about that, and to think about what else I want to do with the series and what else I want to show you guys. So I hope that's cleared up any confusion about why there were no videos. I'd like to thank you guys very much for watching this update video. Until the next video, be good, and if you can't be good, have fun.